Gotta get right here so I can be in the picture and shit.
Starting already.
Yo, what up, yo?
What up, man?
All right, let's get going. What's good? What's
I'm
good?
gonna do this shit.
Y'all ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's roll.
Yeah.
All right. What's good? What's good? What's good? You tuned into Apartment 5B, hosted by your man Kel. I got the squad with me tonight. Grant is in here already.
Yo,
In his bag. In his bag.
in the cut. I'm in the cut, yo. In the cut. What up, everybody?
What's
We're
going
gonna have
on?
a good one tonight, yo. What's up?
No doubt, no doubt. As always, ladies first. Porsche, what's going on, miss?
Not a whole lot, Kill. How are you?
I got my brother Yao out at NYC. What's going on, brother?
What's going on? What's going on? Peace.
No doubt.
Peace,
Vern.
y'all.
What's going on, good brother Vern?
What's going on, folks? Glad to be here.
Everything good. Nick, out the ATL. What's good, fam?
Let's roll. Rock and roll.
Right. DJ Rec with the Red Cup. What's up, baby?
What's today's mathematics?
Tone from End of the Dome. What's going on, Tone?
What's good, family? How everyone doing?
And
we good, man.
We all good. You know how we do. We jump straight into it. Yo, we are talking about today is Illmatic, the hip hop Bible, in which people, I think you will get in more trouble I think you can say I don't believe in the Bible, and you get less feedback than if you say you don't think Illmatic is in your top 5. You know what I mean? Now that's a whole nother show we got to do about that way of thinking, but neither here nor there. We're talking about is Illmatic one of your top 5 favorite hip hop joints ever. You know what I mean? So that's what we're gonna be chopping it up about. I think I brought this up a couple of weeks ago. Everybody was talking. No, probably last week because it was the anniversary. Everybody was like, and I said, "Yo, Illmatic not even in my top 5 favorites." And everybody, I mean, people was texting me like they was like, "Fuck Twitter, we calling you." Like, no, I ain't know that. And I'm like, first of all, like, here's the wild part: I've never said that. In 3 years of doing podcasts, I've never said anything about it. I think it's just one of those things that it was stamped, and it was just like, Illmatic is the greatest album ever, and everybody just agrees with that. So first, let me say this: this is no hate. There's no slander. This
no
is
slander.
It's Illmatic. It's a great album. 5 mic, great beat,
multiple copies.
Exactly. I just want people to understand that this is not any slander. You know, if it's in your top 5, great. If it's not, that's cool too. But
can I say that I appreciate you saying that, brother? Because you know I'll get in big trouble, man.
Exactly. So, we want everybody to understand. There's no reason to add anybody up here. We all love Illmatic.
No question.
Call me Draymond Green. I'm Draymond Green. I want all the smoke.
At the end of the day, like I said on Twitter, y'all gotta understand I'm 45, so I'm old. So there's a lot of hip hop that came out that, like I said, built my foundation.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
To loving this culture way before Nas probably even wrote a rhyme.
Yes.
So, and I'm not saying that age doesn't play a part with it, because I know people who are older than me who think Illmatic is the greatest ever. That's cool too. But we was talking about it earlier off camera, and we were saying how I hate brown sugar. I hate the whole when you fall in love with hip hop. So I kind of came up with something else. When I was thinking of my 5 favorite hip hop albums, I was looking at it from the standpoint of what built my foundation to love this culture so much. You know, anybody out there who's a homeowner, you know, if something's wrong with your foundation, you fitting to cry, because it's gonna be some money to fix that. This ain't gonna be no easy fix. Something could be wrong with your roof. I done had a roof in a day. So, but your foundation would build your house, and what your house is built on. For me, Illmatic just isn't one of them. That's just for me. So we're gonna be talking about what are the 5 albums that are your favorites, why they're your favorites, what is your foundation built on, and everything like that. So, Porsche, ladies first, what is one of the, well, let me ask this first. Is Illmatic one of your top 5 favorite albums, yes or no?
Nope.
Okay.
It's not. I mean, I recognize the impact it has in the genre and in the culture, definitely, because you can't get away from that. But if I had to introduce someone to hip hop and they asked me what are the 5 greatest, what are your 5 favorite hip hop albums, or which 5 albums do you think are the greatest? Illmatic's not one of them.
All right, so give me your top 5 and why.
You want all of them right now?
Yeah, give them all.
Okay, I got Only Built for Cuban Links, Ready to Die, Low End Theory, It Takes a Nation of Millions, and Aquemini. And I think those ones are what I think are the greatest. And well, they're my favorites. I'll say that. They're my favorites. Because I think they have range, all of them. Like they really are reflective of the various like skill sets, sounds, beats, the grit, the jazz, all of this is encompassed in those 5. And I think that, lyrically, they're fantastic. And I think like Only Built for Cuban Links, so cinematic. It's such a dope album, like from beginning to end. Actually, all of them really. Big is my favorite artist of all time. So yeah, I mean, that's why to me.
All right, no doubt. Nick, what about you, good brother?
Yeah, it's not my top 5 favorites. My favorites would be like Low End Theory, Death Certificate, ATLiens, Soul Food, and Only Built for Cuban Links. Those are like my 5 go-to albums, like just for me that I love. And everybody know Low End Theory is my favorite because that's when it's like, all right, I got to start collecting this shit. When I heard that in October of '91, so those would be my 5 favorite.
All right, now tell me this, because one of the things we're going to touch on is how age plays a factor in a lot of this. So you said Low End Theory 91. How old are you in 91?
At that time, I was 12.
You were 12. All right, no doubt. Yeah.
What up?
What's your joints, man? Is Illmatic one of your top 5 favorite albums? Yes or no?
It's not in my top 5 favorite albums, but I do think if we're talking about top 5 ever, I think it's got to be in there. And so,
well, hold tight. We're gonna get the greatest.
We'll get to there, of course. My top 5, my favorite personally would be Aquemini, American Gangster, Kanye Late Registration, Big Life of the Death, and Mace Harlem World. Please, where's my vest? Let me get my vest. Bring my vest.
Too late, y'all. Too late. Y'all go ahead, call the EMT. Call him. Call the EMT.
Take a sip for my brother.
This is
yeah. I'm messing with you, y'all. It's love. It's what you love.
All good.
It's what you love. You a Virgo. So I fucked with me.
When were you born, yeah?
Now, yeah. How old are you?
Right now I'm 37.
37.
So
cool.
I think the earliest of these albums that I mentioned probably is Mace. So it's 97, so I was 16. But like, me personally, it was written. I was made this list, honestly. But it got cut out probably 6 or 7. So
that's a whole nother discussion.
We'll get to that in a minute too.
Now, here's my question for y'all, because I always say it on Twitter. I'm not up here to debate. I just want to discuss. So I'm not debating Harlem World with you, but explain to me what makes Harlem World one of your top 5 favorite hip hop albums ever.
You know what it is, man. You know how they say you just got to be in the time. You know what I mean? At that point, Biggie just died. You know what I mean? I'm from the regardless of what people may think of this, but I'm from the Bad Boy era. I'm from the Big, the Total, the Black Rob. I was just a follower of that whole movement in general. When Mace came out, Mace came out. I heard the verse on the 112 song first. That was the first time I ever heard Mace. But then, as time probably a year went on, I had friends that were from New York that were playing me Murder Mace on the mixtapes back in Harlem, and I was like, "Yo, Clue tape." He was hitting the Clue tapes. So when that album came out,
he was dope then on the mixtapes.
On the mixtapes, that album also came out like right before that birthday. He was dope on the mixtapes. Yes, rap, got it. But that album is a very good album. First of all, it sold like 5 million. That's one. A lot of singles, hard records. Had a joint with Busta on there that was hard. Had a joint there with DMX that was hard.
Why don't you tell Candace to get on the joint, man?
Oh, yo, hey, Kill, don't start that shit, bro. Kill, don't start that.
I just see a foot wiggling and shit. I'm like, wait a minute, man. We ain't as fly as you, man. You got blunts burning, fits, sexy toes wiggling. We're doing a podcast here, man. You might want to take that down to Drink Champs, homie.
Listen. Let me tell you something.
Hey, you might want to take that to Drink Champs, man.
Kill, real quick.
I got some liquor right here, but hey, this ain't Drink Champs, man.
Candace was in the studio with me last week. She was in the studio with me. She posted a little footage from the studio session. Yo, do you know how many people asked her, like, yo, when you gonna get on the joint? So I'm like, yo, nah, like, if she's serious, fine, but she's not serious. And as soon as you gonna ask that right now.
No, the reason why he asking you that is because we
right
see her foot. That's why we laughing.
Oh, her foot? Oh, her foot.
Yeah, we saw her foot.
Oh man.
Oh, he ain't know.
Nah, he ain't even know. He ain't even know.
Oh my God.
Hey. She got
That's why I was saying that.
Hey, that's why I said that she
No doubt.
got pretty feet. She embarrassed. Hey,
It's too late now.
live TV. We live.
I know, right?
Hey,
It's gonna be in the
moment.
podcast.
It's too late.
Hey, moment. Talk about it. Gonna be right on the podcast.
You got Harlem World. You got that. All right, Grab. There's Illmatic. Oh, Vern. My bad, Vern.
No,
Dude.
Vern.
All right. So, Kill, of course, I didn't do it the way you asking. So, if you allow me, I'm 46. So what I did, I'm gonna give you my 5, but I'm gonna give you some more that will answer the question. In 1986, Raising Hell came out. In 1986, License to Ill came out. In 1987, Paid in Full came out. In 1988, It Takes a Nation of Millions came out. In 88, Straight Outta Compton came out. 89, 3 Feet High and Rising. 91, Low End Theory. 92, The Chronic. 94, Southern Playalistic, and Illmatic. So to ask, so the first question, no, Illmatic is not in my top 5. That's not to say it's kind. I kind of equate it to ask somebody who saw Kareem, Magic, Isaiah, and Bird play, to ask them, is LeBron the best? It's like, dude, I can't negate 20 years of legitimate greatness and act like I didn't see that. So my 5, I got Paid in Full, It Takes a Nation of Millions, 3 Feet, Low End, and Southern Playalistic.
Okay. All right. No doubt. Grant, what you got, good brother?
Tone, or me?
You want to go? You ready?
All right, I'll try. All right, so let me see what I got here. I got a lot of things here. I had a greatest list, and then I had a faves list.
So do your fave list first. Do your faves.
Okay. So my faves list, I got Big Time. I got Great Adventures. I got Low End Theory in there. Mecca and the Soul Brother. Did I say Takes a Nation?
Nope.
No, you didn't say that yet.
Okay, and then I'm tied up like with another. I'm on like 6 really, because I'm tied up with Illmatic and Infamous. Because let me say how this works for me. Illmatic and Infamous to me are linked, because to me Infamous built on top of Illmatic. He introduced us to that world, and then Infamous took us even deeper. Like, he brought us to the front door of the projects and showed us the outside, the projects, and showed us some things. They brought us into the stairwell. You know what I'm saying? They brought us into that session in the stairwell. You know what I mean? So those 2 albums for me are like linked. So that's why I say like with favorites. Now, with my greatest, I had.
We gotta get to the greatest a little later.
Oh, okay.
Right. What are your top 5 faves, and does Illmatic make the cut?
All right.
Like I said, it balances. It's Illmatic and Infamous. They kind of, to me, they're almost like one extended album. You know what I mean? So Illmatic is in there with Infamous. I got Big Time. I got Great Adventures. I have like more than 5 top fave. But that's why it's kind of rough for me. I have, for what I wrote, what came right to me was Illmatic, Infamous as together, Big Time, Great Adventures, Mecca and the Soul Brother, and Takes a Nation.
All right, no doubt.
That's what came to me as my favorite. That's what I wrote down, but I know Low End Theory's in there and some other things that I got are in there.
All right, no doubt. What about
Daily Op? Oh, yeah, I got Daily Operation too, yeah. It's my favorite, and it might be one of the greatest albums ever, yeah.
Right, we gonna hold that. We gonna but we gonna hold that. Right. What about you? What are your top 5, man?
So I got my top 5. Smith and Wesson, The Shining, Low End Theory, Tribe Called Quest, Redman, There Is a Dark Side, Gangstar, Hard to Earn.
All right.
Hard to Earn.
Yeah. Those are your top 5 faves. All right, no doubt.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, man, I'm gonna go with Run DMC self-titled album.
Mm-hmm.
Just real quick, I'm basically your age, Kill. My brother's 7 years older than me, so he was DJing in the early '80s, and the first rap shit I ever heard was Run DMC self-titled joint and Hard Times, Sucker MCs, It's Like That, Rock Box. It made me absolutely love hip hop, and that's probably my favorite album. You know what I'm saying? So I go there. Illmatic is one of my top 5 favorite albums. I mean, I write them. I used to be a poet, I guess, and it's poetry in motion for me. So Illmatic is one of my top 5 favorites. The Midnight Marauders. I go back and forth, man, because the Low End Theory is absolutely brilliant. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna go with Midnight Marauders because there's not a song I listen to more than Lyrics to Go.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna go with Midnight Marauders. Only Built for Cuban Links. I mean, it's like watching The Godfather, man. Ghost and Ray was absolutely flawless on there. RZA was at the apex to me of his producing. North Star is probably the best ending to a rap album I've ever heard. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty much flawless. Cuban Links is some futuristic hip hop, man. It still sounds fresh today, and it's engineered pretty good, believe it or not. Because RZA's not the best. They don't do the best engineering with the Wu-Tang. You know what I'm saying? Like Dr. Dre would. You know what I'm saying? But the engineering on Cuban Links is pretty dope. I also go with Black on Both Sides of Most Def, man. That's one of the most dynamic albums I've ever heard. You'll do a song like hip hop and then do the Umi Says or whatever, and then that New World Order joint, man. I mean, Most Def was just
New World Order.
It was kind of New World Order. Excuse me. It was just all over the place, but it was brilliant at the same time, man. So Most was just, he was on point, man. So I think, is that 5? If that's not 5, I'm gonna go with Illadelph Half-Life with the Roots, man.
Okay.
That was my album in 1996, man. I played it pretty much every day, man, in the dorm room, dog. All the time. Yeah, so those are my favorite joints.
All right, no doubt. I think for me, I'm like cut from Burns cloth of there was so much hip hop that came out for me way before Illmatic even dropped. You know what I mean? So I'm with Tone with Run DMC's first album. You know what I mean? That's when I'm 10 years old. It's 84. I see Run DMC on American Bandstand with Dick Clark. And like that was it. If you want to talk about the moment somebody fell in love with hip hop, that was that moment right there. So that Run DMC self-titled joint is bananas to me. Another one, Critical Beatdown, Ultramagnetic. Like that is one of my top 5 favorite albums. I mean, if anything gave me the bug to want to start being a producer, it was Ultramagnetic's Critical Beatdown. You know what I mean? Another joint, Criminal Minded. You know what I mean?
Said G again. Said G again. I don't know if there's an album that I played more than Criminal Minded. Like just from 86 to probably 88, I probably played that album. I don't know how many times. I done popped numerous tapes, had to get more vinyl, had to buy the CD. Like that's it for me. Another joint I had on here, and it's a tie. Jungle Brothers, Straight Out the Jungle, and EPMD, Strictly Business. This is where I talk a little bit about how a 12-inch single in the mid-'80s would last for a long time. I remember hearing Jim Browski in '86. You know what I'm saying? And Red playing that when I would be in Brooklyn with my cousins and hearing Jim Browski. And then 7 months later hearing I Got It Like That. Then hearing I'll House You. I hated Hip Hop House. I thought
well, you ain't like Doug Lazy?
Yo, I thought that was one of the worst little out parts of hip hop ever.
Give me body. Clean like
Girl
Give me body.
Out House Shoes.
Doom, 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 doom.
That's the lady did one.
You know what I mean?
What was my man named? K-Wise?
Would you say, Greg?
Yeah, KY. Stomp.
K-Wise.
That was the joint Stomp.
Stomp. Yeah, Stomp. K-Wise.
EPMD did one.
I was good with all
That's the
that.
lead.
I was good with all that. But
FVD.
Yeah.
But then for me, it was the same thing with Strictly Business. You know, we used to hear like this new generation, like even if we talk about Tribe with Low End, you would hear Check the Rhyme, you would get a single, then you get the album, and then you probably get 2 more singles. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I came up in the era where you got 3 singles before you even got the album. You know what I mean? So I'm hearing EPMD's Your Customer. I'm hearing with the B side of God, It's My Thing. You know what I mean? I lived for like a good almost 9 months before we even got to You Got to Chill. You know, before you even got to the single Strictly Business, before you even got the album. So these joints are like living with me, and like these albums are literally building up the bricks of, like I said, the foundation for why I love hip hop. And then of course, It Takes a Nation. Like, I mean, I can't say we already know what that is. So what it is. And then the last one I got is Paid in Full by Eric B. and Rakim.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Like, I mean, at the end of the day, going back to those singles, I remember hearing my melody and just being like, yo, like stuck, like, yo, what the fuck?
Yep.
You know? Number one, the song is crazy slow. And then it's crazy long. Like, it's like 8 verses on that. It's like 6 minutes. You know, so, and then I'm like, and I just remember saying, man, he can't top that. Then I'd hear Eric B as president. I'm like, oh my God. Like, yo, he can't top
that record changed my life.
Move the crowd.
Right. But before I even move the crowd, I Know You Got Soul.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
like, oh my God. You know what I mean?
Crazy record.
And then I hear I Ain't No Joke.
Yeah, man.
Then I hear Move the Crowd. So, you know, to me, and it's funny, Porsche, you brought this up on the What If show about, and I don't know why my mind drew a blank. It's easy. If Illmatic didn't exist, to me, it's Paid in Full. To me, that is the album that you say, here you go. You want to learn how to MC? You want to learn about boom. Here's your album. I don't know why I drew a blank a couple of weeks ago, but it just hit me like boom, Paid in Full. So to me, those are the joints. So again, and I could probably go. I don't think Illmatic's in my top 10 as favorites. To be, what are you gonna say, Tom?
And real quick, to your point, Paid in Full to me is what I consider like the kind of blue for hip hop. Instead of people saying Illmatic is not the kind of blue for hip hop. Paid in Full is because Paid in Full is the bridge from the old school Kumo D, yes, y'all, to the new school Biggie and Pac and Jay-Z and everyone like that. Rakim is the bridge that people walked over to get to the 90s. So I mean, Paid in Full is, for me, Rakim is Miles Davis in terms of hip hop. And I wrote an article about that about 2 years ago because I honestly feel that way. I just wanted to make.
No, that's a great point. I was talking to my man about it on Twitter the other day. We were going back and forth. I said, to be honest with you, I feel, and we'll get into this as greatest albums and what that means to you and the impact. But I was like, to be honest, Paid in Full had a bigger impact for me than Illmatic did.
Easily.
Absolutely.
I mean, because to piggyback on what Tone said, you coming off of, I mean, Raising Hell and like License to Ill, Run DMC was the biggest thing in rap. And, you know, LL, nobody was rhyming and putting schemes together like Rakim. I mean, hell, without Rakim, do we get a Nas?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so all those patterns and the way he rhymed like an instrument. So I'd heard Nas before I heard Nas. Not to diminish Nas' greatness at all, but I already seen Kareem and Magic and Isaiah. So, you know, that's my thing on it.
Nah, I feel you on that. Now let's talk about
real quick. What's the name has said, DMC has said, I don't know if y'all has saw that. I think it was on Netflix. He said he was in his car, he was, you know, doing his thing, riding in the caddy, chilling. Yeah. His man hopped in his car and put on Rakim. Yeah. And it fucked him up. You know what I mean? So
I bet it did.
Like clearly, like Rakim was the changing of the guard. You know what I mean? Kumo D does not get enough credit for also being a part of that changing of the guard as well. But yeah, that's true. True. Because I heard you mention him, but he's not a part of that Ba Diddy Ba back then. Even Little Rodney C. If you guys go back and listen to his freestyle versus Busy B on the Wild Style soundtrack, he was saying some really clever and, you know, shit beyond his years. Like, you know what I mean? The flow and the rhymes he was spitting were slightly beyond his years. What's the name was spitting more of a party style, but Rodney C was actually spitting some like lyrical shit.
And
you know what I mean? For that time.
I think grab to a great point to that is that for the younger audience who is watching, MCing was about master of ceremonies. You know what I mean? When MCs got started back in the 70s, the DJ was really the person.
The person.
They were the headliners. The MC was
no question was pumping up the DJ.
Right, exactly. It was almost like, if people remember Def Comedy Jam, it was like Martin Lawrence. Like, you just coming out to get everybody hyped for the other comedians. You sell one or two jokes, then you leave the stage and let. So for the MCs, they were just the Busy Bee. Like, where the people at? Where all the fine ladies at? You know, get the party moving and grooving. And like you said, Grap, a lot of people don't give Mo D that credit. But I always say Mo D was almost, he ushered it in, but then got knocked out the box by got knocked out by LL. Yeah. So it's like that's what we mean by hip hop was always evolving. Like it didn't stay the same. Like you said, I'm sure DMC was fucked up when he heard Rakim. Because at a certain point, cats Houdini had to realize, yo, this funky beat shit ain't working no more. It ain't working no more. We ain't. You know, same thing with a lot of people. Curtis Blow, you know, Houdini, Run DMC. I mean, I think Run, because they were as big as they were, they continue to have that. But I mean, once you get past Raising Hell, I mean, Tough Enough, I mean, yeah, you got Run's House and Beats to the Rhyme, but
that's it.
Other than
it was over.
That's it. You know, so you're absolutely right on that, Grap. So I want to get into the greatest album. So Yao, what do you feel are your top 5 greatest hip hop albums?
Top 5 greatest albums. I think Illmatic is in there. I'm a believer in this. Like, there's some criteria from everybody has that criteria, and it's different for different albums as to why. But I feel like Illmatic is the Bible because all my favorite rappers after that say it's the Bible. One. So you know, I'm endeared to them and what they say and what they believe as like what they listen to, what they came up because all my favorite rappers always mention Illmatic as one of their favorite albums and a game-changing album. Also, for what it's worth, it's the first album to get a 5 mic rating in the Source. Another reason why it's the greatest album. Also, it just was so honest. Like he was young. I was trying to explain to this earlier. It's like at that point, I don't think anybody had heard an album that was like that dense lyrically. That was also that good sonically. You know what I mean? It was really dense. And for a young guy from New York City, he was the essence of New York City in that era. And you know, so that's why it's in there for me. Life After Death is also in there for me. Life After Death is the to me is the best double album that's come out. At least to my knowledge.
Hold on for 1 second. And this is why, like, I'm a great, you know, studio engineer. As soon as you said Life After Death was the greatest double album, I went straight to Porsche. Like, I was like, I've got to get this look on her face. And so I got it, Porsche. So when y'all go back and watch the show,
it's gonna be a screensaver for
just
me.
go.
It's gonna go on the TL.
He said screensaver.
It's
gonna go on the TL.
Double album ever. I went straight to Porch face. You'll see it back.
For those what the fuck moments on Twitter.
Here's what it is. I feel like right after Life After Death came out, I feel like everybody was trying to rap like Big. Everyone, and I feel like that's a case with a lot of these people I'm going to mention. At least a lot of these albums. At least at that point when these albums came out, it changed things sonically or rap wise. So I don't think that's even debatable, honestly. If you think about 97 and the rappers that came out after that, we're talking about Jay, we're talking about DMX. These are like, you know, the biggest rappers at that stage. Everybody under that was trying to, if you listen to the mixtapes, the Clue tapes, everybody was taking from Big. And everybody was mentioning
Jay-Z clearly takes from Big. I mean, that's not, he doesn't hide that.
Well, yeah.
There it is. You think DMX?
What?
Do I think DMX?
I mean, DMX. No, I don't think DMX sounded like Big, but I think
sounded like Jay more than me.
I don't think he stole from Big. I'm not gonna say DMX stole from Big, but DMX is like, I think he's a product of that Big era. I think the Locks are as well, who are considered some of the greatest one of the at least top 10 hip hop. Let's say top 20 hip hop groups of all time. Just going off head, probably one of the greatest New York groups of all time. You know, I think that era between like 97 2000, everybody was rapping like Big. So that's that. Then then you go to Paid in Full. Another when I wasn't even alive, but when I first decided to start doing music, I listened to a few albums that I had to go back to. One of them was Greatest Adventures. The other one was Paid in Full.
My bad, bro. What year were you born?
I was born 81.
So you were okay.
Yeah, you were alive. That's what I was like.
No. But I mean, I said I had never listened to it when I was young. I mean, I was 5 years old when it came out. It wasn't my.
No, I know. I thought you just said you weren't born.
Yeah. No. I had never listened to it when I was young. I said when I was doing album, when I first decided to do albums, I wanted to go back and just listen to like great albums, and that was one of them. And I understand. I was really understanding as to why, because like you said, I don't think we get Nas. Without Rakim, I don't think we get a lot of. I don't think we get Wu-Tang without Rakim. Honestly, like that, he just set the bar for rapping, like knowing how to the way you rap, like the cadence, like the structure in your bars, like
the mechanics of rapping,
right. Definitely. So I'll go with that. Another album in there would be College Dropout. I know like I said, I'm the youngest guy here, but I feel like
I like it. You
know what I mean? Like the Kendricks, the Drakes, the J. Coles. College Dropout was that there was nobody,
their blueprint.
That was their blueprint. It never gave. It gave. I was like the error on the stamp, right? Like the stamp. I'm sorry, stamp on the error. Like, it gave college kids and the regular kid who wasn't a gangster, who wasn't like a dude in the streets,
and nothing like that. Yeah,
nothing like it. It gave the regular kid a voice. You know what I mean? And that was never heard before. That, like I said, that spawned off in the J. Coles you hear, even like. People like Currency and Crit, these guys who are out now, who have been mainstays, Joey Badass. We don't get that without College Dropout. And then I'm gonna say, I'm gonna go with a 5 and 6 here. Don't get mad at me. The Chronic and Doggy Style.
No,
you know what I mean?
I see
that's
that.
fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
I think I always tell people this, but after that, I really started to notice things like when Dre was putting out music, even that first album, Chronic, to this day, those songs come out, they slap way harder in my speakers.
Way harder,
than any other record. You know what I mean?
You play Wu-Tang behind Dre, you like,
damn. The fuck out of that album.
Like the drums and like I said, my favorite West Coast song ever is Nothing But a G Thing. I was like 11 when it came out, so it was like, I was really influential when you see that video. You see Snoop, you know what I mean. So Chronic, Doggy Style, 5, 6 for me.
Okay. Was you rocking the flannel?
I definitely try to rock a flannel and a bandana. My mother quickly shut that down.
Yo, let me ask you this, y'all, because one of the things I'm looking at is a certain year. So yeah, you said you were 11, very influential. I get that. How old were you? What year was it when you were 10 years old, yeah?
When I was 10, it was 1991.
1991.
91, 92, let's say.
All right. Vern, what about you? Greatest hip hop albums ever?
Paid in Full. I don't think we have to go into that. It Takes a Nation of Millions. Just the sound of it, what Chuck was saying, what he represented, what he stood for. I know Chuck D kept one of my good dudes from selling drugs, man. So that in of itself is enough. I'm gonna say this just because of what it did in hip hop. We had never heard nothing like it, and it was right off the heels of Straight Outta Compton. 3 Feet High and Rising changed things to me. I mean, nobody was doing what De La Soul was doing at the time, and they were bold enough in the face of all that to just be themselves. And to me, it sparked my next one, Low End Theory. De La gave Tribe the boldness to do their own thing. So Low End Theory is 4, and I'm gonna just say it, bro. Southern Playalistic. Outkast put the whole South on their backs. Before Southern Playalistic, we had 808 Booty Shake, music from that people consider the South, the Luke stuff, Jam Pony Express and all that kind of stuff. Atlanta was
the South with substance.
Yeah, right. Exactly. We Crisscross, and LaFace. But
they brought South with substance.
Yeah. So you got dudes from the South not trying to be from New York, but spitting And then Rico and them bringing that soul sound, you know, not trying to sound like New York. I mean, Rico says it on the Art of Organized Noise. We wasn't trying, you know, we paid homage to them. PA was with their first act that they put out, and they was trying to sound like New York.
Like New York, exactly.
Yeah. So finally, they're like, man, we're gonna be us with bass and organs and all that. Curtis Mayfield, all that stuff. Southern Playalistic for me changed everything. Put the South on their back, gave the region respect worldwide, and spawned one of the greatest hip hop groups of all time.
Right. Can't be mad at that. What about you, Porsche? Top 5 greatest, and then does Illmatic make it?
Nope, Illmatic doesn't. Well, here's the thing. Illmatic makes it because everyone jumps on that. Like, if someone was to ask me, Portia, what are the greatest albums? I'm not naming Illmatic, but my little asterisk there is the whole wide world of hip hop reveres Illmatic as the greatest, so you might want to check that out, but not me, you kind of thing. So with that said, I also want to say that region plays a factor in this, and we haven't mentioned that, but it does, because I was born in the Middle East, but I grew up in the central part of Canada, which is like North Dakota of Canada. So hip hop was very, very, very difficult for me to get a hold of. Like I've told you guys many times, ODB's album was not allowed in the record store. We had to go to the States to get that.
So
Yeah, like
that Joe was readily available.
So for me, like getting a hold of these things, like the albums that impacted where I was from are very different from the albums that impacted where I guess maybe others are from, right? So with that said, Straight Outta Compton is one that I have to mention, because with what NWA did with that album and all the controversy it started and all the headlines it caused and all the, like, every single person ever in Canadian version of North Dakota was talking about it. There's an impact there. So I would say Straight Outta Compton, It Takes a Nation for the content alone at the time. And then 36 Chambers for sure changed everything. And ATLians. ATLians, I know Vern mentioned Southern Playalistic, but ATLians to me was the one that kind of blew up Outkast everywhere. I remember I was in Arizona. I was super young. I took a trip with my cousins to Arizona, and everyone was talking about ATLians all over the place. And, you know, like, it's just everywhere we went, it was Outkast this, ATLians that. And so that album for sure. And I would say Criminal Minded. As well. And that's just off the strength of KRS and what he did and what he was, you know, rapping about and content wise and all of that. So those are mine.
All right. What about you, Nick?
I'm got to shout out my Uncle Eric and my Uncle Derek, because like the Public Enemy, It Takes a Nation. I remember them saying like every black man in America should hear that album. So that's why It Takes a Nation is on there. Paid in Full is another album that they always play. They love Rakim as an MC, and like you all said, you have rap prior to him, and then you have rap after him. Yeah. So Paid in Full has to be on there.
Believe that.
I would say The Chronic, because you couldn't escape it. Like when MTV was popping, Dr. Dre was on there for like a full year with 2 videos, like in rotation for 2 years. So The Chronic,
riding down the street on that's right. It, yo.
So that shit
is hard. Let Me Ride. That's what you're.
Exactly. Yes, sir. And like my older,
he was killing it.
wiser homie from the A said, Southern Playalistic, because that made me because it was tough when you go downtown with the college kids, because most of them was like East Coast cats. When you have no album, they be talking, y'all niggas can't rap. When Outkast came out with Southern Playalistic, you can slide that on the table like, yeah, what was that? So Southern Playalistic is definitely on there. And I can't front. As much shit as I talk, Illmatic would be one of the greatest in my top 5 greatest. I can't say it's not. It's a great album.
Yo, it's funny, Nick, the way you talk about Southern Playalistic. That's how I talk about Illadelph. for Philly.
Yeah.
You know, like that was when I felt like, okay, like I was up probably sophomore year at Morgan, and all my New York niggas was like, yo, this is crazy. So I definitely feel you on that. Real quick, Nick, how old when you were 10? What year was it?
89. And now more on Outkast, what I'm like, they're one of the few groups where 3 albums mean 3 different things to me. Cause like if you ask me the magnum opus, that would be a Aquemini. It was like the best of both of their first 2 albums. My favorite is ATLians. The most important is Southern Playalistic.
That's a great definition. Yep. Yeah. I think Southern Playalistics. I heard somebody say today, it's kind of like People Instinctive, and then ATLians is your and then it
Low End Theory.
and then it goes to Midnight Marauders.
Mm-hmm.
That is an interesting.
It's that same kind of.
That's very interesting. I like that comparison a lot.
No question. Considering how much they admired Tribe Called Quest. That's a dope comparison.
Yeah. Now here's the wild part for me, and it's probably because I'm the odd man out, like I always am. I wasn't in love with People's Instinctives. I thought it was a cool album. I thought it was a cool little intro. Whereas with Southern Playalistics, I love that shit from the door. I always say the Roots to me followed Tribes because I thought, "Do You Want More?" I thought it was cool, you know. But and like Malik, I can make a nerd say he's superb. Like, what you talking about? But then with Illadelph, it was like, oh shit, you know, it was like a whole new sound. Like I said, with People's Instinctives, you could tell by when I heard "Can I Kick It" remix, that was Tip. Like going into the low end, because my biggest thing with People's Instinctives was it was too light in the ass for me. I mean, I love Bonita. I wasn't a fan of "Can I Kick It" like that until the remix came out. So it was dressing weird, so I was like, fuck that. But then when I heard Low Check the Rhyme, I was like, okay. Same way with the Roots. I'm like, they too light in the ass. Then I heard Clones, and I was like, oh, okay, okay, this ain't proceed no more. And then things fall apart, but I definitely feel you. Just for me, I love Southern Playalistic so much.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. You know, I was just somebody just made a thought on it.
No, that was very dope. Porsche, what year was it when you was 10, Porsche?
Oh, Kill, I don't disclose that information. I've been 23 for the last 15 years. Kill, I am 23 years old. You do the math.
Right. You how old were you? I mean, what year was it?
When I was 10, it was 82.
82. All right, cool. All right, Grab. Greatest hip hop album.
Wait, hold. Let me clear this up, homie. I was born during the weekend of the Attica riots. I'll let y'all look it up and figure out all that. I was literally born the weekend of the Attica riots. It started, I think, on the 9th, and it ended on the 13th. I was born on the 11th of September.
What year is that?
Go look it up.
Like
71.
Do your math, son. I'm probably the oldest dude here.
Yeah, you are.
I'm the oldest here.
What are your top 5 greatest albums, and does Illmatic make the cut?
All right, let me talk about that. All right, so I'm gonna just go like this. My greatest, of course, Takes a Nation. Daily Operation, Low End Theory. You know why? Because Daily Operation was the album I had on cassette, and I never had to touch it once I pressed play. To me, that's a great album. I never everyone has one album. When you put that shit on, you do not have to touch it. You don't. It's not like, let me fast forward that one joint or them 2 joint. You don't gotta touch it. All right, so that's why I have that on there. Day Lies Dead, because that was the maturing of that sound. Low End Theory, I said Takes a Nation, Low End Theory, Daily Op, and then Paid in Full, and then I have Illmatic running right beside Paid in Full. Let me talk, because Paid in Full, like y'all said, was that blueprint. To me, Illmatic was that second coming. You know what I mean? Was like, I'm going to keep this blueprint going so that the new Jenny will know how to do it like you did it, King. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I respect Illmatic on that level. To me, Illmatic is like a Basquiat painting. Why? Because when you look at a Basquiat, for everybody who looks at it, it's something different. For some people, that shit look like trash.
Mhm.
For some people, it looks like something amazing. For some people, it's like, oh, I can kind of dig it. I can. But what is the thing about a Basquiat? The value of it can never be denied.
Mm.
So that's why the Illmatic album to me is like a Basquiat painting, because the value of it can never be denied. Everybody may view it differently. It's not in your top 5. It's not in your this. It's not in your cool. But the value of that album cannot be denied. You know what I mean? In my eyes. You know what I mean?
I agree.
In my humble opinion.
No,
Born during the Attica riots. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I got a question.
DJ Rec 1, what about you? 5 greatest?
Hold up.
Oh, Nick
got a question.
We got a question. Series is canceled.
Well, no, because like we said, Paid in Full is the blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
We said Nas kind of continued it. Who continued it after that? Well, what do y'all think is the
That's
next
a good
album?
question. I would say Good Kid, Mad City.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
You know
say.
what? Yo,
Okay,
you know what?
That's
I
what
was
I was
Okay, okay.
Colorful Kenny getting some
I-
love from the OGs. That's
I
what
didn't want to say it because I felt like I might be the young dude in here. They
Nah,
might try to
I feel
rap.
that.
I feel like
Nah.
as far as like blueprint of
Yeah,
album,
that's legit.
you know what I mean? Like blueprint
That album was
album,
complete, man.
that complete, top to bottom. Like
Yeah.
I'm talking about the skits, the schemes,
Yeah.
the theme, sonically, the lyrics,
Mhm.
everything.
Yeah.
Everything
Yeah.
is
Full album. That was the last great full
work of
album.
art.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Beautiful work of art.
Yeah.
So I feel
Yeah.
like that's the next one. Only because, and you know how much I love Jay. You know how much I love Big. You know how much I love even that era between when I was in my 20s and 30s. I felt like that album, Good Kid, Mad City, is
Yes.
up there in albums.
Yeah, it
Mhm.
is. It is. It's in my top 10. That's the last album that stopped me in my tracks.
Yeah, yo,
Like I got that album
did, man.
after a night playing at the club, and one of my homies was like, "Yo, on your way home, you need to listen to this." And he's from the West Coast, so I knew who Kendrick was, but I didn't even know the album was out.
Mhm.
I drove around for 3 hours listening to that album, and I lived 20 minutes from the club.
Man,
it's real. It's real.
one thing I don't ever want to come across as is this old curmudgeon. Dude, the people we're talking about are all in the club.
No
No,
question.
we ain't talking about Young MC Bust a Move.
Yeah.
Kendrick is amongst the greats. I mean, he
Yeah.
can hold his own in any area. So the people that we're bringing up, we might defer. Well, the Mace part, I don't know about that one, but the other ones, bro, they are amongst
Oh man,
the great, the immortal hip hop people.
Can I say one thing about Mace?
Mace is dope. I ain't trying to say he ain't, but I just don't.
Can I say one thing about Mace? Just one thing.
Yeah, I'm
about
not
Mace.
saying Mason not dope.
Just hear me out. Some of the better rappers in this era will always say they were influenced by Mace. They will. Like Pusha T says it all the time, mentions Mace. Kanye mentions Mace all the time. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So, you know, I even Jay will talk about Mace's run that year of his music out as like a bar for him. He always says it in his rhymes. So I don't want people to get anything misconstrued. Like,
let me ask you a question, y'all, because you just said that year of his run.
That's right. I caught that too.
Yeah, I did too.
That's like a skip, like a run. Like, he just be feeling the thing for 3 years. Like that 1 year, his run, like
I mean,
Because it blazed him for 1 year. son.
look,
like, we can call it something else, but that ain't a run.
listen, for what it's worth, Mace got hot as fish grease for a year and a half. Say what you want. He at a certain point.
I'm not debating that. I'm just saying I can't define it.
We can't use it like that because Nelly was hot for for a minute.
Hey.
Ja Rule was hot. So you know.
Hey, look, but look, hey, look.
To me, the run got to be like when Nick talks about RZA's run from like 93 to 96. That's a run. Like Mace being hot for
A lot of fish grease out here.
That's hey, man, look, here we go. Oh man,
A lot of fish grease out
man.
here, y'all.
They ain't
Oh,
gonna let you
man.
slide with
A
me.
lot of cats with the Crisco can.
I get it.
Word.
I get
A lot of
it.
cats with the Crisco can.
And my Crisco can't get
I get
full,
it.
yo.
I got the least gray hairs on the panel. I get it. It's all good.
Hey,
It's all good.
at least you still got your hair, man.
Right. At least you still have your hair.
The thing that I want to say is that I can't speak intelligently on it because I never heard Murder Mace.
Mhm.
I was introduced to Mace when with that shit when they jacked the message with Puff. That's
Bad Boy.
right.
Yeah.
So I didn't hear any Murder Mace. So you know what? For what I hear about Murder Mace, it was a big difference between Murder Mace and Bad Boy Mace. So you know, I digress to just say, like I said, but it still shit wasn't a run. But continue.
Well, listen, that's all I had to say. Like a lot of rappers that came up after Mace will always say Mace was very influential in how they rap and like how successful they were as far as like even being able to make songs. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say one of my greats is.
Would you say that you have been influenced? Who would you say? Because I respect you as an MC. Who would you say are your top 3 influences that influenced you as an MC?
I would say
is Mace one of them? And is Mace one of them?
Mace probably not 3.
That's cool.
Mace is probably not 3, but it's probably in like my 5 to 7. But I would say probably Big. I would say probably Big, probably Beanie Siegel, and probably I don't know. I mean, just offhand, probably Jay. Those probably be the 3.
All right. I was, and it's not no shot at Mace. I was just trying to figure out like when all these MCs just saying, because when I hear Pusha T, I don't hear Mace. So I'm trying to connect the dots on how, okay, you telling me all these rappers are like, oh, Mace influenced me, but I hear none of that. I hear none of Mace.
Well, listen, if you go back to, I don't know what the albums, I'm not sure if it's I think it's My Name.
Like Mace.
Pusha has a song where he takes Mace's entire cadence.
You know what?
The whole song.
You're right. You're 100% right. I do know what you're talking about.
Wow.
That's a song that I hate. But
okay.
What song is that?
It's all My Name Is My Name album, I want to say. But I remember hearing it and I'm like, yo, this shit is whack. This sounds like some old Mace shit. This sounds like
ouch.
Like because I've never heard Pusha rhyme like
I always say it though. He will always say it. I promise you.
All right, no doubt.
Wow, that's interesting.
All right, Rap, we did yours. DJ Rap, how old?
Yeah, I just want to add. I just wanted to add main ingredient to that as well because that was
my
that album was a very influential album for Jay Dilla.
Right. All right, no doubt.
In the flesh.
What year was it when you were 10 years old?
88.
88. And Rack, top 5 greatest, and does Illmatic make the cut?
All right, so top 5 greatest. Slick Rick, The Great Adventures of Slick Rick. That was the first whole album that I got to listen to front to back at 10 years old. Don't ask me why. It went down like that. And that kind of introduced me to what hip hop was. So that album is always going to stay true. EPMD, Business as Usual. That album let me know that I could be a DJ because hearing DJ Scratch on that thing was crazy. That's what I got from that album, from that whole era was just the change in the guard of how they introduced a DJ more so than Caleb Boss was. Doggy Style, Hard to Earn, and Low End Theory. Those are my top 5. Illmatic does not make it.
All right, no doubt. Tone, what about you, man? Top 5 greatest, and does Illmatic make the cut?
All right. So, yeah, first, Illmatic does make a cut. I think Rap said everything I could say, man, about the abstract of the album, man. I don't need to go in details, man. Everyone's heard everything about Illmatic possible. I just think it's one of the top 5 albums ever. Number 1, I will go with PE Taking Nation of Million. You know, think about the 80s, man, and crack, and you got Night of the Living Bass Heads, man. You got what's the other joint? Rebel Without a Pause, and you know, bringing up, Black Still Now with Chaos is still one of my favorite rap songs of all time, man. The production on Take a Nation is like top notch. The engineering is
making the soul, bro.
What can you say, man? I mean, you can't move that out of the top 5 to me. Number 2, I'm going with the Chronic, man. The Chronic is the West Coast to me. It's the picture of the West Coast. It's the picture of the LA riots. It's the picture of Dr. Dre and the introduction of Snoop Dogg, really, even though, of course, he's going to get deep cover. But Snoop Dogg is the star MC on the Chronic. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think the Chronic is the best engineered hip-hop album of all time. You put that shit on right now. You bought that CD back in 92. You can pull that, dust it off right now, put it in your car, and it's the clearest music you'll hear. You know what I'm saying? Dr. Dre is an amazing engineer. It just sounds... It's crazy. Ready to Die, man. The MC and Biggie did on Ready to Die is just when I think about Give Me the Loop, man, I'm like, dude, you really rapping like this, dog? Like it's crazy what Biggie was doing on Ready to Die, man. All from the intro to Suicide Thoughts, man. You know, it was groundbreaking to me. Paid in Full, we already talked about that. So I kind of have a 5 and a 6. Aquemini is brilliant. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's probably the most brilliant Southern rap album and one of the most brilliant rap albums, period. It reminds me of the De La Soul is Dead and the 3 Feet High and Rising with the brilliance of the way the album was constructed. And what else, man? I think that might be it, man. I'm rolling with those.
All right, no doubt. Illmatic actually does make my top 5 if we're talking greatest. We've already said Paid in Full, how it linked to Illmatic and everything like that. So that's definitely there. Of course, P's Nation, for everything that Tone just said. Y'all know I'm a big book dude, so I got to shout this out real quick. The joint No Half Stepping, it tells you the story of the Latin Quarter, one of the most infamous clubs in NYC in the 80s. And for years, I used to always say that Chuck was the one who ushered in, you know, no gold and wearing black medallions. But then when you read this book, the guy Paradise, who was part of X Clan, who ran Latin Quarters, actually, that whole movement started from the Latin Quarters first, because so many people were getting robbed for their gold chains that they came together as a crew, as they came together as hip hop, and they said, look, we're not rocking gold chains no more. We're rocking, you know, the African medallions and all that stuff, you know, to kind of try to lower the violence. You know what I mean? But PE just came in and just swept right into that. And with it, like, what's up, Tom?
And speaking of PE, man, if you guys look, this is the tape right here. I don't know if you can see that. This is the original tape I bought back in like 88, 89 of Public Enemy, man. I got a whole box full of old tapes, man. So gotta keep it authentic, man. Takes a Nation of Million, man. The tape version.
I would probably my next joint will probably be Low End Theory Tribe, just because the sound of jazz and everything like that. Guru and them and Primo was using jazz before, but Low End just brought it all out. Like, that's when just everybody liked hip hop. Just now everybody wanted jazz records. I mean, myself included. My mom's is a jazz musician. I never paid any attention to her music until Low End Theory came out. Like, you know, then I was like, Mom, who's this and who's that? I remember saying, yo, who's Ron Carter? And she was like, the picture of this nigga and me who's been on the piano. Like, and I'm like, oh shit, Ron Carter. Like, and now I'm like all in my mom's face, like, yo, give me some jazz and sample or whatever like that. So I think Low End just ushered in the whole movement. And one of the albums I think a lot of people don't talk about, but I feel like was hella important, KRS-One's By All Means Necessary. You know what I mean? And the reason to me why that was so important, I was listening to it the other day, and when Illegal Business comes on, this
what can you get 63
about crack being sold, how cops work with the crack dealer to get the crack in the streets while the crack dealer can't be arrested. And like, again, 89, this was so over my head, you know, because I want to say Chris said he was like, we said something that 22 is the age. So he was 22 when he dropped this album. In 89, I'm 13. I'm 14, 15. So a lot of this was over my head. You know what I mean? But listening back to Illegal Business, the whole Stop the Violence, you know, that whole Stop the Violence movement, I think resonated with Chris because of Scott's death. You know, so and we're still dealing at a time, we're still dealing with hip hop at a time when all the heavy hitters could come together and work together. You know, the way Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince was saying, like, yo, we got together with all the artists and we said we boycotting the Grammy. You know what I mean? Like, you can't do that shit now. You know what I mean? Somebody is gonna, you know, Cardi is gonna be like, fuck y'all, I'm going, or somebody gonna, but it's too much. But at that time, so to me, just by all means necessary, was definitely one of those albums. At the time, I didn't know anything about Malcolm X. You know, so I didn't know that album cover was a play off Malcolm X, you know, until my dad saw the album cover. And so between PE and By All Means, they had a dude who didn't want to read nothing, reading everything. Malcolm X Speaks, autobiography, everything. So to me, those two albums are there for greatest albums. Let me ask y'all this. For the most part, I don't think any of us had Illmatic as a favorite. Some of us had it as the greatest album. Why do you think the world has stamped this as the greatest album? I think we have I love this crew because we have different ages, we have different regions, we have.
Why?
Why? Tell me, Nick.
The Source magazine.
Yes, sir.
I was just gonna say I have a question, and I was gonna ask this exact thing: is if the Source didn't rate that 5 mics, would everyone hop on this 5 mic classic thing? Because I feel like that had a big, huge impact on how people kind of received it.
Well,
Source gave it 5 mics.
Well, let's
let
look
me
at it
listen
like
to
this.
it again. What am I missing?
Let me ask this. Illmatic came out in 94, right?
Yep.
Right.
All right, 94. Now, I know we're all different regions, so pardon me for this ignorance. Was everybody up here a Source reader?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so
Source reader since 92.
Okay, so everybody was reading the Source. So that's a good point. I never thought about it. So if Illmatic isn't rated a 5 in the Source,
because it was the first album that was rated 5 mics.
But also feel this way. The Source had been out for about 5 years, 5 to 6 years at that point, and already for a couple of years, it was the most reputable hip hop source out there. If I'm not mistaken, at least when I do my research on it, I feel like I feel like there's something to be said about being the first one. You know what I mean? There is I mean, as nostalgic as it is, and as maybe maybe I'm not sure as I'm not even know what the word I'm looking for is right now, but you know, it might be. It's the first one still, you know what I mean? And they rated a lot of albums. A lot of albums came out before that did not get the 5.
Yeah, but they also re-rated. I'm sorry, but they also re-rated a lot of albums because they skipped over. So that's a huge thing for me. That you have to re-rate albums? No.
Let me say this. I just looked this up. Wikipedia could be wrong.
Yeah, it wasn't the first.
It says albums that received 5 mics. They said People's Instinctives got 5 mics.
I didn't know that.
It was the Ice Cube album that got 5 too, right?
Let the Rhythm, America's Most Wanted got 5 mics.
Yeah.
One for All got 5 mics. De La Soul's Dead got 5 mics.
Let the Rhythm Hit 'em got 5 mics.
I didn't know that.
So
here's the thing, though.
But hold tight. Low End Theory got 5 mics.
Yeah, but are you reading? But is this from Jump or is this a re-rating?
No, it's from Jump. But the thing is, the
Source original rating
wasn't as big back then either.
Right.
So by the time,
so are we talking like Source when they were like a 1-page publication day?
The Source wasn't one page after like 90.
I mean, from when they first started,
it did start as a newsletter.
Yeah, it did, yeah.
I think by the time America's Most Wanted dropped and One for All, I don't know if we're still dealing with newsletter.
You weren't.
So it's not. So Illmatic wasn't the first 5 mic album that got.
Rakim got 5 too.
Okay. All right, now he did, and here's the thing, because I don't have the magazine, but I remember it. Gangstar was on the cover of the magazine that got. So he wasn't even on the cover of the Source. Because at first I was gonna say, well, maybe if he was on the cover and it was like Illmatic 5 mic, he wasn't even on the cover of the issue where they talked about Illmatic and where it got rated.
Right.
They didn't want to give it 5 mics, but the female writer pushed the board to give it 5 mics. They wasn't going to give it 5 mics. They was giving Illmatic 4.5 mics. The same way they did later on with the Chronic. The Chronic got 4.5 mics. You know what I'm saying?
They
but
got 5 later on.
They got it wrong.
And Kill, and also to add to that, I can remember this because I was thinking about this when I was driving home today. At the time, Q-Tip, Tribe, my favorite rapper. I remember reading Q-Tip say, "Man, this is the greatest rapper of all time." You know, and this is before he came out, and you got all these people lauding him, and me and the contrarian that I am, everybody telling me you gonna love this. This is the greatest. This is the greatest, dude. I almost felt like it was a press release and a press movement before it came out. It's like, man, let me live with it. Let me make the decision for myself.
There was a lot of hype coming off of Live at the Barbecue. That's the thing.
I mean, it was the hype of Live at the Barbecue, but keeping in mind that Live at the Barbecue came out, I was still in high school.
It was 91.
It came out a couple years. He did Back to the Grill again after that.
Right.
We still had to get Back to the Grill where he dropped the verse. We still got
halftime on the Zebra soundtrack.
But and just since we're talking about it, it has albums that were originally received. So everything I just said got the 5 mics. Albums that were originally received 4.5 mics and were later re-rated was Breaking Atoms, Death Certificate, The Chronic,
Only Built for Cuban Links,
Into the 36, Ready to Die, the infamous Only Built for Cuban Links, 2001.
Wow.
Albums that were originally received 4 mics and later re-rated to 5. Grip It, On That Other Level, Ghetto Boys, Doggy Style, The Diary, Scarface, Migos, The Score, Fugees, and Reasonable Doubt, Jay-Z. So everything I named, so the People's Instinctives, all of that were originally those 5 mics. So just
that was still early 90s though. We gotta realize the source was a lot bigger by the time Illmatic came around.
Right. But it seems like everybody is saying because the source said,
and the source was more well known at that time too. So when the albums you're talking about, it's like 91. We talking 94. Like it done passed just the East region. Like everybody reading the source at this point. Right. And like he said, you got like Q-Tip, Lost Professor, Pete Rock.
So everybody just
the
like,
next coming.
Yeah.
All right. There was and remember on Midnight Marauders, Lost Professor said rapper Nas gonna top it or something like that on the Midnight Marauders. A lot of people was big in the low. When you drop it, So
listen, I just feel like, I mean,
he was talking about his own album though.
And also
by the album when I drop it.
It's also timing though. I think timing has a lot to do with why it was the greatest. Like that stretch, 94, they always call it 94, 97, the true golden era, right? So I feel like that might have something to do with it as well.
Well, you know what? Let me hold tight.
I'll say 97.
Hold tight for 1 second. And the only reason why I'm saying is because one of the things I wanted to talk about and why I'm asking everybody's age and years and all that is because one of the things I wanted to say is that I think everything we're talking about right now leads into my final piece of it being like, to me, is what Vern is saying. You have to stamp hip hop. You know what I mean? You can't let somebody else stamp hip hop for you, in my opinion. You know, so everything that you all are saying, I think is it. It was the 5 mics. It was everybody hyping them up. It was all these things that came together. So it was a hype machine behind Nas.
It was respected people though. That's the thing.
And on top of that, like you said, it's the respected people. You also have to chime in with this is the first time a randomly no-name MC for the most part was able to get beats from the dopest producers on the planet.
I also think there's something to be said about Nas's age at the time. That does definitely play. He was so young. He was coming with these lyrics that people were like, "What the heck?" Like, you know, older people weren't doing that,
and I think
that matters.
I think he's the most naturally gifted rapper. We like just as far as the way he raps. You know what I mean? It's seamless. I'm not sure we ever had that. He was the first one to really expose. Like it was like I always say. I know I'm technical, so it's like. I always say the bridges and like this, the wordplay. It was like the bar structure was really different, but it all sounded like you can go with it. It sounded like it all belonged together. You know what I mean? He was one of the first people to really do that. I think that's another reason. It was like that's why everybody was blown away. It's like I said, even Rakim had a format. You know what I mean? I think there's a format to the way he rapped. So you know, if you guys understand what I'm saying, you know what I mean? But Nas didn't have that, and it just sounded so. I don't know. It just sounded seamless to me.
So, I mean, I think it's all those things, but the reason I stopped you was when you were saying, you know, 94 that this was the golden era.
Everybody got a different golden era.
Yeah, and everybody you know, so and I was saying that on Twitter. I said, yo, there's somebody out here who their golden era is 2000 and 2009. And just like clockwork, somebody jumped in and was like, yo, Kill, you're right. That's my golden era because Jay had the blueprint, you had Kanye. So we can't damn, the 80s was the golden era. I can't expect somebody 23 to be like, yeah, OG, you right. Like, no, your golden era is gonna be what era spoke to you. And for me, like I always say, and age plays such a huge difference. Now that we're all older and we're all living the same life, 2 years doesn't seem like much. Like Ev is only 2 years younger than me. But when I was 10 in 84 and fell in love with hip hop, he was 8. There's a big ass difference between an 8-year-old and a 10. You know, me working with kids, I get it. An 8-year-old is in 4th grade. I'm taking French 1 in 4th grade. A 2nd grade is still learning how to read. So I can't expect the stuff that, even though we all in the 40 and over club, and it's like I'm 45, he's 43. There's still a difference in that 2 years. You know what I mean? Like a huge difference in how you heard and what you heard. So even that 2-year span can make somebody say, I really wasn't feeling the jungle. When I tell people Straight Out the Jungle is one of my favorite albums ever, anybody who's younger than me, people who's 42 look at me like, the Jungle Brothers? Like,
Jungle Brothers was dope.
Yeah,
but,
first 2 albums.
It was dope.
Whereas to me, the first 2 albums are both 5 mic albums.
And even more important than that, Kill, sometimes their album is not as dope as what they brought in. You follow what I'm saying? There is no tribe, there is no De La, there is no no native tongue.
Yeah, native tongue period.
Without Jungle. So even more so than the album is the movement that they sparked.
Right. Yeah, so I mean, I just think that's the thing that we all have to realize. I see that, we all see it every day. What's the real golden era? What's this? What's that? It's like, bro, it's all about what spoke to you. Man. It's all about how old you were. I'm not trying to force feed nobody like, yo, this was the era you need to listen to or anything like that. But I think everything that everybody's saying is that it's just like, wow, Illmatic is the hip hop Bible, basically because we were told it was.
I tell my wife this all the time. Like she'll be debating the Bible and stuff. I said, you got to stop assuming that everybody believes what you believe. And I think a lot of times heads, you'll get that New York bias a lot. Like Nas, like, dude, no. 94, Nas wasn't hitting like that in Atlanta. So it's not just a given foregone conclusion that we bow down at the altar of Illmatic, And I think if more people were objective, I told you this earlier, Kill. I love my wife, I love my mom, I love my daughter, but I don't love everything they do. And what happens on Twitter and on these things is, if you don't say that, without Nas I wouldn't have a reason to live, a certain segment of the hip hop population, it does. Yeah. But a certain segment of the hip hop population is gonna come with pitchforks and torches for you. It's like,
try to stone you to death.
I'm not saying. Go ahead, Tone.
But you know what, Vern? I feel you. I mean, we've had many debates on Twitter with people. It's the cool thing to say. You know what I mean? Like certain things want to be so hip hop that Nas got to be. Now, Nas is my favorite MC. I never say he's the greatest. I ain't never say Illmatic was the number one. I mean, I think it's up there, but you know what I'm saying? I don't want to ever be a prisoner of the moment. Like, I'm trying to be just so hip hop. So I'm going to say, this person right here is the greatest of all time because people love that. Like, Most Def is the greatest MC of all time because he's such a B-boy. No, he's not the greatest MC of all time. You know what I'm saying? But people will say shit like that on Twitter to sound good. You know what I mean? Don't say that. Don't say Illmatic is not number one or you don't know hip hop. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not the case.
Who's on your five then? That's how they.
Yeah, Nas was number one. I'm in North Carolina. In 1994, Illmatic wasn't shit down here. It was dope. But Biggie was launching. Right. You know what I'm saying? Ready to Die was the joint. We was rocking Ready to Die. You know what I'm saying? 94 down here. So
that's why I always say I love doing the show with y'all, because when Nick said that about Illmatic not hitting in Atlanta, I was blown away. Because being at Morgan, being around all these New York, Jersey, Philly people, I just thought the entire planet was all playing Illmatic. Like, I ain't gonna hold you. When Nick told me that, I was like, I don't believe this nigga, man. Come on, man. Like, but I gotta believe him because he was there, but it's just the impact that we all thought up north that Illmatic had on the entire world. But I'm like, well, shit, damn, he wasn't even hitting in Atlanta. Like, we the whole world, we can't even get down south. Yeah. Right. You know what I mean? And I'm never one to talk about record sales, but
yeah, exactly. Thank you.
We'll bring up that it's not like this was being purchased, like Tribe was going platinum, Into the Woo was going platinum, but Nas Illmatic didn't go platinum right away. Eventually it got.
And you know what, Kill? Illmatic is basically a popular backpack album. He was damn near a backpack rapper at the time. You know what I'm saying? I mean, on some real shit, Illmatic had no commercial single, and even though Large Professor and all the groups were like legendary in New York, they underground producers for cats down in North Carolina. Unless you was a hip hop head like myself, the average rap fan down here didn't know who Large Professor was. You know what I'm saying? They ain't think breaking albums on no damn classic. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't like that. You know what I'm saying? So Nas was an underground rapper. He came down here to a small hole in the wall club in '94 performing. Cass was like, all right, what keep murdered? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how it was.
Yeah.
All right. So basically, we're just saying it was the hype, and that's the reason why Illmatic is looked at as.
And I won't say that about everybody.
So does it hold any value in hip hop?
Yes, no question, no question.
Yeah, what I,
It's still that Basquiat. You gotta look at it your way. Okay.
I love it.
Yeah, and again, keep in mind, I'm bringing it back because some of y'all mofos out here watch the show don't pay attention.
You already know. No slander.
No slander.
At all.
Just heard Tone say Nas is his favorite rapper.
Yeah, my favorite.
Yeah, so this is no slander. This is you can still think somebody is great and not think they're the greatest ever. You can.
Right. Hey, Kim, can I say one more thing?
Yeah, what's up, Tone?
Can I say one more? So, and people were jumping on my back, and I'm standing by this right here. Nas was still a better MC on It Was Written than he was on Illmatic. Yeah, now, you can say Illmatic is a better album, but in time, you get polished more. Like Biggie was better on Life After Death because he was more polished. He had more flows and more something that in variety. Nas doing I Gave You Power. Ain't no I Gave You Power on no damn Illmatic. You know what I'm saying? I mean, one time for a nigga basically freestyling. I mean, he doing shootout.
Elevation.
He elevated as a
great point.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean,
it's the same thing.
That's what I always say.
It's the same thing from Southern Player Listed to ATL and to Criminal. I mean, it's the same thing. Yeah.
And the wild part is when you say that, whenever one of my teens get in my car and I'm playing something, I always start with I Gave You Power. You know what I mean? Because I'm always like, I always want to present something to them and then ask them, now, can your favorite MC do that? Not saying I can't do that with New York State of Mind or The World Is Yours or One Love or anything like that. But the first thing I always go to is I Gave You Power. And that's the one that like just floors them. That and Rewind are the two Nas songs that like floors my teens to be like, oh shit, this nigga is really like the shit. You know, I don't know if New York State of Mind will be too over their head. I don't know what it is, but those are the two joints I always go to. So I definitely feel you on that. Anything else on Illmatic? Again, no slander. You know,
I want to say one thing. So I ask a lot of questions on the TL just to get some, hip hop dialogue going. I'm sure you guys have seen it. But anytime I ask a question about, what's your favorite beat in hip hop? What's your favorite track in hip hop? The funny thing to me is nobody mentions Illmatic anything when it's isolated. It only ever comes up when it's an album, and that's so mind-boggling to me because of the way people revere it as a project, but they can't take it apart. And here's the thing, like when I ask someone what's the best beat in hip-hop, it's Troy or Shook One's Part 2. It's never New York State of Mind. It's never, One Time for Your Mind. It's never any of these tracks off of Illmatic, but then put up, Mecca and the Soul Brother against Illmatic, and everyone's like, "Oh, I love Pete Rock, but I gotta take Illmatic on this one." Like, I don't get it.
But I think, I mean, listen, no disrespect to Mecca, but I just think that sometimes I think people would. So let me ask you this: do you think that Nas outperformed CL on? Let's say, did Nas perform on Illmatic? Did he outperform as far as lyrically? Was he better than CL was on Mecca?
I would say that.
We had a whole album with Pete Rock, though. That's
Pete only did one song on it.
Okay.
Do fair. I think that Pete Rock and CL are like the perfect union for a duo? Yes. Do I think that Nas and any of the producers that he's worked with are a perfect union? No. But again, like, we need to think about that. When someone asks, like, what's your favorite album, and you swear up and down that it's Illmatic, wouldn't you assume or expect that said person would also say, New York State of Mind is my favorite beat ever. There has to be reasons that support why you ride so hard for Illmatic.
Right. Me and Kill talked about this, though. Remember we had the Prodigy versus Nas combo?
Yeah.
Well, Prodigy got, like, Shook Ones, you got White Lines, like... Keep it thorough.
Hey, can I ask a question? Can I ask a question to the panel? All right, for you guys, do you think, since we're talking about Illmatic and the way Nas was pretty amazing in terms of like the MC performing on the album, I mean, where does that rank? How many other MCs had a performance to that degree to you guys that would match what Nas did on Illmatic? Like, for example, Andre 3000 on like ATL is, let's say, it was amazing. And
that's my argument. And that's my argument for why Illmatic. I think, like, as far as being 19, and I'm still hearing things from Illmatic that I'm just catching now. 25 years later. You know what I mean? So, like, like I said, lyrical performance, we had never heard. I'm not sure. Hey, listen, I was 13 when it came out, so I had never heard anything like it. And I listened to Illmatic and was like enamored, but then I was more enamored it was written. But then later on is when I really started to appreciate Illmatic. You know what I mean? Because of how dense it was lyrically. Like I was still catching things. Like it ain't hard to tell. These are very complex songs. You know what I mean? Like
the ill thing is, Porsche. That's a great
point.
That's a great
Yeah, absolutely.
It's very hard for you to say Kobe Bryant is my favorite player ever, the greatest player ever who's ever walked this earth. And when I ask you your top 5 moments of the NBA,
Kobe's on none of them.
Right.
And you know what? Right after this, I will put up another. I have the question in my head, and you guys just
when he
watch
dropped
the result.
81, son.
But that's the point. That's the point.
What did you say, Porsche?
I'm not a Kobe guy, but
right. But I'm just saying that
I fuck with him, but I respect him.
In the head that Kobe's the greatest player ever, and I asked you, what are your top 5 moments? And you like, oh, that 3-pointer Damon Lillard hit the other night, and that time and you don't name any Kobe moments. Then how is he the greatest ever? So I totally, of course, is saying that if Illmatic is the be all to end all, anybody.
I was gonna
tell me
rock
New
with,
York State of Mind has a better beat than Troy or Shook One's Part 2, but you're not going to see that anywhere. I
was gonna say to you to add to what you were saying, Porsche. To me, it seemed like it was very difficult for them to find a actual commercial single. You know what I mean? For that album. You know what I mean? It ended up being The World Is Yours, but it seemed very difficult to find them. Had Pete not, I guess, contributed that to the album, what would have been One Love? Maybe One Love.
Maybe Halftime was a single, but
not for that album. Not for that album.
That was first for Zebrahead.
We're talking about Large Pros. It ain't hard to tell.
It ain't hard to tell.
Yeah. But the point of what I'm saying is I'm with you. At the end of the day, when people talk about the greatest beats, you'll hear Come Clean. Come Clean wasn't no radio single. To me, Troy wasn't a radio single. Right. It just touched us. So, Porsche, great goddamn point. Great point. That's a mic drop. I almost want to stop the show right there. Because
that's my challenge to people is just support your diehard, like it was made from Adam's rib, whatever, like God, you know what? Whatever. And I apologize for bringing in like religion and God and all that kind of stuff. And I hope I don't offend anyone. I know, right? That's gonna be the picture, right? Here's the thing: like if you hold this album in this high of a regard and you come in like, don't talk to me if you're not going to talk about how great Illmatic is, then I expect to see it. You telling me that I don't like Shook One's Part 2 and Troy. New York State of Mind is my favorite beat of all time in hip hop. It doesn't happen. It just does not happen.
You know what they're gonna do? They're gonna be like that scene in Coming to America. He beat Joe Louis' eyes. That's the one.
I forgot who said it, but I think it's a good point that you people look at Illmatic as a whole. Like
it's the album. He don't have anthems.
It's Illmatic or bust. They don't look at it as a New York State of Mind as my favorite beat.
No. They can't. People cannot take apart Illmatic for some reason.
Let me say this too, and I put this on Twitter, and it's one of the reasons why I love doing this show with y'all, because I was home and I was having this conversation with my man on the block, and he was talking about how nice Nas was, and we was talking about the whole Paid in Full versus Illmatic. And I was like, my nigga, what are your 5 attributes to an MC? And he was like, attribute, motherfucker, what you talking, nigga? like, don't be asking me what's the big attribute, nigga? What he's nice. Really sit back and think. The thing with this podcast is when I send out the thing, y'all see, I gotta do notes. Like this ain't no off the top. This is you gotta think. Everybody doesn't think. To me, a lot of people just spit. Like it's like, oh, Illmatic's the greatest album of all time, and then next one they'll be like, oh,
and can't tell you why.
Like, can't tell you why because they're not thinking. It's just
here's the thing: Illmatic has generic answers for everything. So why is Illmatic the best? Oh, because Nas was the first one to superimpose his baby picture on, or his kid picture on the sky, the background of New York
Oh
City,
my
and
God.
then
Yo, Porsche is on fire tonight.
You on one today.
It's
true though.
conversation every time. Like
It's true though.
People are constantly talking to me about this. People are DMing me like, I cannot believe I'm about to unfollow you because you think it was written is better. I'm like, dude, get off my page. Like,
oh
I
yeah,
don't care.
that was a whole night of Twitter beef. I remember that shit.
Like, the thing is, there's generic answers. So it's like, okay, well, what about contact? Oh, well, the track list is a perfect time, and it's, this many tracks, and he was so concise, and okay, like, they're all very general, generic answers that everyone says. It's a cookie cutter. It's a cookie cutter. Any Illmatic fan. And
it's funny because I think this in a barbershop one day. I was listening to these two cats debating sports, and I was like, yo, I heard what this nigga said before. Yo, Stephen A. Smith said that yesterday. So you got people who want to fit in so bad, who go to the barbershop, who don't really know sports, but they just watch ESPN and they just grab, Stephen A. made a good point. Okay, this person Max made a good point, and then they fix it, and then they go to the barbershop and they literally just verbatim bite everything that they said. So you have a lot of people, and remember, I have to always remember this with social media. I don't know who I'm talking to.
Yep.
I was on OK Player once 10 years ago arguing with somebody. I went to the dude profile pic. He was like a 15-year-old kid from London.
Man, that happened to me in Tone.
15-year-old kid from London.
That happened to me in Tone. Yep.
I'm just like, I'm really having a discussion with somebody who's my age, and I'm just. So again, so many people on Twitter, like you said, it's a generic.
Hey, Kill, I'm gonna tell you what the other end of that. You'll get the fools. You'll be like, who are your top 10 MCs? Cannibal Ox,
right.
little Rudy from the borough.
Little Rudy.
Who are you talking about, man? I mean,
Cannibal Ox.
just to try to sound like they're esoteric, and they up on. No, and they up on
MF Doom top 5 or some shit like that.
Yeah, or Street Life. Like, come on, dog.
Don't even start Street Life.
Yeah, the Street Life cat.
Ain't Cannibal Ox from Philly?
What happened, Brad?
Nah,
is Cannibal Ox from Philly?
Nah, he ain't
from Harlem.
Nah,
Vast Air. Which one of them is from Philly? Is any of them from Philly? Vast Air or Cannibal Ox?
I thought they was from Harlem.
Yeah, don't get me.
I don't know, but yeah, people try to get obscure with it.
Right. So you're right, Vern. It's two ends of the spectrum. Either it's exactly what everybody else is saying, or it's so far left that you just like you
Stay
said
over there
to make it sound deep. I'm a name people that nobody in their mom has ever heard.
Right.
Mic drop with Porsche. You on fire. You was taking up an offering. You get the offering.
She had that focused face at the beginning for
she did.
Yeah, y'all could have seen the show before we start recording that we all laughing and joking and Porsche just like this.
Yeah, she like, I got y'all tonight.
I got a point to make today.
We ain't got no time for all that. I'm just ready to kill, hit record, and let's go
live.
Porsche gets Porsche gets the offering this week. Tone, give them all good brother everywhere where they can find.
Hey, Tony Haynes the Dome on IG, intothedome.com. Check me out. Also, B-Roll Network, That Time in Hip Hop. Just released a new article tonight. Well, last night actually about Beanie Siegel. One about Herbie Lovebug and one about Nipsey Hussle. Check it out.
Playing out, be sure, man.
All right, no doubt. DJ Rec, give him all the stuff, good brother.
Twitter is at DJ Rec1. Instagram is Worldwide Rec1.
All right, Grap, give him all the info.
Have named me Grap at Twitter. Go on Bandcamp and cop my instrumental album and work out to it.
There you go. What's the Bandcamp site?
Sounds of Mount Vernon. Just go in there, Grap Lover, look for Sounds of Mount Vernon. That's the instrumental album.
All right, no doubt. Yeah. Nick, give them all the info.
Big Bro will link it up. Big Bro will link it.
You'll tag it. They don't need to find boring on Twitter. Nah, they don't need to follow me.
Yo, you can't drop the mic and then go incognito. Like you
both of y'all, man.
Oh man, like, at Cherchez La Porsche.
You like Jason Bourne, you killed a whole bunch of people and then you just want to fade off into the sunset.
With a tracker in your back.
Can't drop the mic like that.
You put the tracker bullet in your back.
Burn the clothes.
In the seat.
If you are looking for a house in the Georgia area and you are not hitting up my man, like Souls of Mischief said, that's when you're lost.
That's when you're lost.
Burn, good info, good brother.
Instagram at V the Lone Closer, Twitter V Chandler 10. This is fun. This is fun. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Y'all G's, what's going on, man?
Yo, man. First of all, shout out to y'all, man. First of all, really good show. I really enjoyed this show today. My IG, Twitter, Yao Music. I got some music coming out, like for real this time. I know I say it every show, but
worse than me.
That's why we love you, brother.
I literally put the playlist like I just bought. I'm using a new Mac. I had to buy a new Mac, so I had to get some things together. I just put the place together, and it sounds really good. Wife likes it. My homies like it, so we put it out probably in a month or so. It's going to mix and mastering in like a week. So we're gonna roll with that, and yeah, check me out, man. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got beats, I got projects you want me to hop on. Let me know. Yeah, music on Instagram and Twitter. They get me on Facebook, but I don't really use Facebook like that anyway. So.
Yo, quick question: my joint still set off the album?
It says so. So it's funny. I got Kills on the album. Kills the first track on the album. I got Wreck on there with a joint called Cruising, which is apparently everybody likes. And then I got some more music. I got another joint with Wreck I'm doing. I have another joint with Kill that I might release as a freestyle before the album. So I'll let y'all know about that. Definitely.
We've been sitting on that Della Don for a minute, man.
Yo, I have you. So it popped up on my shuffle like a year ago, and I was like, why haven't I used this? And I was just like, okay, I was gonna put on this project, but then like I'm gonna put it as a freestyle.
We need to drop it, bro, because you done made me work on the album cover like.
I know. I forgot about that. Yeah, my bad, brother. I mean, it's still relevant. It's still dope. So I'll put it out. I'll put it out real soon. I got y'all.
All right, no doubt. Y'all already know this with me, Kill 889, Twitter, Instagram. Check out the joint, me and my man Cash, Burn Hayes. We did a salute song, the Nipsey Hussle called Hanging. And it's getting a lot of love. I'm actually not shocked, but it's getting a lot of love. I'm not used to getting this much love on Twitter for music. So check that out. Just go to willmakebeatsfood.com. It's up there. All right, y'all. I'm gonna check y'all next week, y'all.
See y'all.